Three tribes. Fake idols. Shipwell Island. Lost votes. Earn the merge. Post-merge swaps. Analogies out the wazoo. Sob stories. 26 days. Time is a flat circle. Let's talk about Survivor 44. You know what they say. Survivor's like a box of chocolates, covered by a blanket half melted in the Fijian sun and reformed into an uncanny resemblance of Robert De Niro.
Huh? Snuff my torch. Snuff it. Yeah, snuff my torch. Huh?
Internet, my name is Peridiam, and bear with me for a minute. Okay, so, as you all know, I am a longtime Survivor fan. I've been watching the show live since like 2009. I've never missed an episode in nearly 15 years. I have made hundreds of videos about the show. I've turned it into a full-time job, and along the way have spent all that time and energy and passion invested in keeping up with the online fans and the sentiment we all kinda share. Because let's be honest with ourselves, nobody else loves and hates Survivor more than us. But I say all this to emphasize that for the first time in nearly 15 years, I decided to actively not watch Survivor on Wednesday night. I watched it on Thursday night and just avoided spoilers. I know, quite dramatic, but I did this multiple times this season for the first time ever, despite everything I just said about my dedication to the show, because if I'm also still being honest, I've heard it all before. The commentary and the analysis and the hot takes and the deep pulls and just all of it. I've heard it like just last season and the one before that and the one before that. Three tribes again, more Shipwell Island. Earn the merge, isn't that just another tribe swap? What is this post-merge swap? Oh, come on, cut it out with the sob stories already. When are we getting 39 days back? Does anyone else on the internet want the auction back? No? Just me? Okay. I have heard it all on repeat for years, and if it isn't what I just said, it's problems with the themes, or there being too many idols, or hey, when I first got into Survivor, Redemption Island was just around the corner, and let me tell you, it was not received well. Believe it or not, Jeff Probst actually wrote a big message to the fans on SurvivorSucks.com explaining himself and why he included it. Kinda like in a way he's been doing with the On Fire podcast each week after season 44. And I will say, if you haven't checked out that podcast, it gives a great amount of insight into the mindset of the people calling the shots. I didn't watch season 44 live for half the season because of three reasons. First, the pre-merge was a roller coaster of emotion. I really didn't care for the one-off tribe swap in episode 4 where Josh was given an idol to just blow up the Tika tribe. Not just because I loved the Tika tribe and nobody gets between me and my jam, but because it was probably the most on-rails outcome in 44 seasons of the show. It was nearly scripted with what was going to happen. And if it wasn't on Tika, it would have just happened on Ratu or Sokka. As Josh said himself, he was always going to play his idol, and one of the Tikas was always going home, and for what? Why not a regular tribe swap? Or perhaps even more creatively, and a little bit of a nostalgia kick, harken back to season 3 Africa for the first swap ever, with 2 players making the swap for each tribe, but perhaps they get an idol between them that causes friction and doesn't mean they're guaranteed safety. Likewise, for those who don't remember when they went to Shipwell this season, they were forced to play the game. They couldn't play it safe and opt out. But I kind of wonder, is players having less choice, less agency a good thing? Why are we forcing players to lose their vote? I mean, with this twist on 44, choice is not even an illusion. You can't play it safe. You can't be smart. You have to rely on the odds, or otherwise your vote is gone. In a tribe of just 6 people, or 5 people, or 4 people. Why? The producers threw in fake idols for the first time ever made by their own art department, and go figure, they had no relevance to the season at all. Took up a lot of time though, between the bird cages to the hiding and the finding and the snickering in the bushes. Also, go figure, the best moments involving fake idols this season were all from the ones the players made themselves.
Shut the front door.
It's real.
Plant lady and plant daddy. Give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up.
Jamie thinks that she has the hidden immunity, but the real truth is that I have it.
You have another idol too?
I do. That I'm playing tonight.
It's the idol.
So, are those the bits from Tree Mail? These are the bits from Tree Mail, Josh.
Can you not destroy it for me?
I didn't do anything. It came apart.
The bits from it came apart.
You can't force creativity. You can't script this stuff. And the more you try, the more you'll realize it won't work. For me, that's always been the beauty of how shows like Survivor work, when Richard Hatch throws the final immunity in season 1 for $1 million, and even the producers are shocked. The genius comes out from within. That's the beauty. If you script it, it loses the magic. Unlike Game of Thrones, I don't have to suspend disbelief when I watch Survivor, but forcing lost votes, handing out fake idols like candy, or worse, real idols, it's a tough pill to swallow. That is reason 1. Reason 2 is because commercials suck. I mean, I know, hot take, but wow, is it a lot more enjoyable to watch Survivor without interruptions every 10 minutes? Which also kind of means for me, I don't think about live tweeting my thoughts and can just sort of watch the show for a fun 42 minutes. But mostly because of ads. Nobody likes ads. Which just so happens to be why today's video is sponsored by Square. I'm kidding. Reason 3 is because as I have been listening to Jeff Probst's podcast each week after the episode, I've been trying to give him the benefit of the doubt with his creative choices for each episode. Jeff notes that he is a creative, not a critic. He creates, and even though I am a content creator for a living, much to Jeff's chagrin, in this video, I am a critic. Jeffrey, bear with me. Survivor has been on for 44 seasons. Even after 44 seasons, it tops the ratings for its time slot just about every week. While broadcast TV is slowly losing numbers, Survivor is still at the top. Kind of like being at the very top of a slow singing Titanic. But Jeff has been the executive producer for more than half of its lifetime. Going back to when I first began watching actually in 2009. Because in 2008, Gabon happened, and after that, Jeff needed to step in. But really, Jeff makes a lot of the overhead calls when it comes to the direction of each season. He's the brain of the nervous system, and when us superfans start throwing punches, he feels it all. He literally has a section on his podcast where fans get to tell him why he sucks. It's a sadistic relationship. But with that in mind, there's this strange dynamic in my superfan bubble of social media content creation where sometimes I feel like I know exactly what makes the show work, what makes the episodes good, what keeps the show alive and engaging. And then there's times, like with season 44, where I'm not sure if I'm too deep down the iceberg to realize that I might be in an echo chamber. I'm posting the same tweets season after season, leaving the same commentary episode after episode, upvoting the same comments, reading the same threads. I'm just spinning wheels in my reviews. A part of me wonders if Jeff has it mostly right, and I'm not seeing it from the average person's perspective. I changed my viewing habits to try and better reflect that. Maybe I'm getting in my own way too much to enjoy a good thing. I still think my criticism of those pre-merge twists is valid, and I don't want them to return, though I do feel they will. But Survivor is going to 90-minute episodes for the foreseeable future. It's doing well in ratings. From what I've heard, it does well in Paramount Plus. In my personal metrics over here on YouTube aren't getting any worse. The math is in. People like Survivor, and I want them to love it as much as I do, to get as much out of it as I have. Jeff admits that he doesn't always get it right. Per his own words on his podcast, the Hourglass was a bad idea, and I wholeheartedly agree. It wasn't creative enough, and it didn't inspire any drama. It never really could. That's what I look for most in these new twists. Because that's like the biggest differentiator with modern Survivor right now, it's twists, and that's probably why I wasn't so bothered by that post-merge tribal split that sent Matt packing. This was actually the first episode where I decided to step back, and in spite of a lot of frustrated superfans, I actually loved how much emotion and tears and pain of loss was in this episode. That is what I want from an episode, for the stakes to be high and feel high. Franny and Carolyn were hurting from the bench as they watched both Matt and Jam Jam, their number ones, fight for their life. It was dramatic. It was a somewhat unexpected twist, a tribe swap, not the first time, probably not the last, and I actually felt like something was on the line. It wasn't just analogies and generic stock questions, it was a tribal council with real answers. Which is also why Heidi's steal a vote was just like so pointless. Oh my gosh, and the epitome of modern Survivor getting in its own way. Kind of like when you're trying to take a nice family photo and somebody keeps photobombing it by accident, you're just like, stop, get out of the way, what are you doing? Something good is happening here and you're just ruining it. Here's a reality check. Most advantages in the history of Survivor have little effect. I've made videos about this, I've done an audit. They just take up airtime with little to no payoff. Conversely, I'm cool with a tribe swap, because it's predicated on the suspense of shuffling the social deck, and there were ways around it, like Franny throwing the challenge to save Matt to big brain the outcome. She didn't, and it cost her. Although last I heard they are still a couple, so hey, maybe they won more than $1 million. And as far as the Earn the Merge goes, which has been a recurring thing now for 4 straight seasons, and I would love it to just kind of stop, it's basically a tribe swap in place of the merge, which I was just advocating for, but in this case, I don't feel like it's necessary. It's a little too much. It's too extra. So they take 3 tribes, they shuffle them up and make them into 2 tribes, and then they vote somebody out. My problem is that while yes, a tribe swap on the surface is decent, the creative storytelling and the narrative of the season just becomes so jumbled up and messed up and difficult to follow that I don't know why we need 2 tribe swaps for 2 straight episodes, as well as that tribe swap back in episode 4 where we had Josh, Carson, and Jamie mix it up. And while yes, we have seen the post-merge tribe swap that cost Matt the game, we've seen that going back to Ghost Island in season 36, so like 8-9 seasons ago. I don't know, I prefer the individual game, and when we spend like half the season as tribes, it's exciting to watch them start to play as individuals and not go back into the episodes we just had. So I kind of hope we get more episodes with that portion in future seasons. Hint, hint. Okay, after saying all of that, let's talk about the good. The post-merge episodes for Survivor 44 were all great. In spite of some of my focus on the criticisms of the season, I really enjoyed the second half of Survivor 44, and the first half wasn't all bad either. Danny's idol play on Franny to boot Brandon at the final 10, the guy who saved himself after his own idol play in the premiere, was a fantastic bookend to his story, and it was a fun outcome to watch play out in the episode. Then in the next episode, Kane gets sniped after the Tika 3 begin to ping-pong back and forth between the Ratu and Soka tribes as they said they would at the start of the merge. This is just getting juicy, and I love the strategy. I love this outcome. I love what's happening here, and I just can't wait for more of it. And thankfully, that's exactly what we got. The Tika 3 played this post-merge so well, and I really want to tip my hat to them for what they pulled off. The boot order being what it was, 2 Soka boots, then 2 Ratu, then 2 Soka, then 2 Ratu, is wild, and I love it. And they were this close, they almost pulled it off, all of them making the final 3, and hey, even though they came up just short a little bit, it's all gravy because there's only ever going to be one winner anyway, and I was happy with any of them taking the cake. Talking about Survivor back in 2009, the first season that got me back into this show, this outcome felt eerily similar to season 18 Tocantins with the Jalapao 3 and JT, Steven, and Taj. Another trio I was heavily rooting for and so happy to see prevail in the end. They also bounced between 2 rival factions of the opposing tribe, and just like Tika, finesse the cast to Survivor storytelling perfection. Because as far as 44 goes, that's what I'm calling this. You can't script this kind of stuff, and I love it when a good story comes together. We shot for the moon and we got the stars, with Carolyn, Jam Jam, and Carson all in my shortlist for returning players when we inevitably get that next All-Star season, which, Jeff, should be coming up any season now, right? And yeah, I liked a lot of this cast. I do say that for a lot of the cast, but then if I go back and rewatch any season of Survivor, I tend to walk away enjoying most of the people and their presence on the season, except for a few of them like, I don't know, Ghost Island. I do say that for most seasons of the show, but I do feel like everyone on 44 had a place in the story, had a place in the season, and they were all somewhat memorable, given their respective airtime. Jamie and her magic wand and her fake idol storyline, oh boy, that was tragic. Danny and his real idol play and his awkward De Niro impression after he got voted out. And I just want to point this out that Danny is both a firefighter and a breath coach, and go figure he loses the challenge in the water. That's all about being able to hold your breath. I normally don't root for showmances, but the relationship between Franny and Matt had me excited for them. While yeah, they were at times one-dimensional in their portrayal, I can't say that I didn't feel for them with each of their demises. Franny becomes this underrated challenge beast, and Matt gets knocked out too soon. If only he had his bag with his fake idol. Maybe we could have gotten some payoff to that long-standing storyline that went nowhere. And speaking of the finale, let's go back to the premiere. I was rooting for Lauren since the beginning, especially after the premiere where she impressed me out of the gate. She tricked her tribe into letting her go to Shipwell Island by rigging the rocks. She banked her vote and was playing this low-key, under-the-radar snatch victory from the jaws of defeat at the very end. As we got closer to the endgame, I was finding myself happy with pretty much any outcome that was going to end up happening, and I just don't always feel that way at the end of a season. Also, Josh. This guy was pretty much invisible for like the first 2 or 3 episodes, and for all my frustration with the tribe swap, I did love the Josh and Jam Jam and Carolyn interactions. I was sad that he went so early in the Mergatory, and I had to give him a shout out. But yeah, let's not bury the lead. This season was all about Tika. Carson almost being the youngest winner ever. Going into the season, I thought he might be good. I did not think he would be that good. The guy is striking from space. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing, innocent but deadly and effective. Jam Jam had one of the best social games I've seen in a while. Everyone just couldn't stop talking about how much they liked the guy. He was a lovable teddy bear. Anytime he was on screen, I was just interested to hear what he had to say. Jam Jam, welcome to the Pantheon, my man. You earned it, and you were a great addition to the show. And then lastly, just as we began the season, we have Carolyn. On top of the fact that she shares the same name as my wife, I gotta say, I love Carolyn. I really do. She is one of my all-time favorites. So herself, so unfiltered, so unexpected with her lobster fingers and passing out and throwing leaves on herself, her random screaming. I know that's not everyone's cup of tea. I get that not everyone is gonna love that, but then I love Courtney Yates and she didn't even want to be on the show in the first place. And she almost won. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Carolyn even wore the key around her neck after she played her idol, the key that she used to unlock the birdcage. I can't with her. I need more. And then still speaking of Tika, Probst himself has said that Bruce is coming back for another season and it's gonna be in 2023. Who's ready for another 90 minutes of Bruce? And another Tika winner, come on. Obviously. Despite the fact that I have some pretty serious criticisms for this season, I will say that it might be on the outset my favorite season of the new era of the past 4 seasons, in spite of its flaws. Because even though I love the game and I study it a lot and I talk about it all the time, it's the cast and the story that won me over and had me enjoying the show for much of its runtime. It's not Heidi standing up to play a random steal a vote. It's not about random advantages getting played at random times or people being forced to lose their vote or earn the merge. It's about none of that. It's about the people. The sad but inspirational stories didn't feel as in my face. They actually felt a little bit more natural this time around, but I will also still be honest, I could do without them. I don't really need to feel sad watching the show. I keep calling this era the inspiration era because I really feel like that's what they're hitting us over the head with. They're a little too on the nose, but what isn't on the nose is Matthew falling off a rock because he's playing way too fast, too furious, hunting for crabs, I think. Matthew, what did you think was gonna happen when you climbed that? But he was situated well to be my preseason winner pick, and damn it, Matt, could you just like not take it a little easier? I'll see you for second chance too. It's these moments of unscripted reality that I love, and I think makes Survivor some of the best TV out there. For 23 years, wrapped in the pretense of a game, but not focusing on the game, but instead the people playing it, not getting played by it. If Survivor is gonna run for 90 minutes in the future, it needs to give us more of that, of the drama of existing with a group of strangers and the experience of trying to connect and sever those ties, and less of forcing the players to lose their vote or their voice, and less reading paper to explain new advantages. I trust Jeff will find new ways to spice the game up, but let the people come first. I've been saying this for years with Big Brother, but if you build a twist around the social part of the game, it's gonna be more suspenseful and unpredictable than if you throw in like a 5th extra vote or a 3rd fake idol or the knowledge is power for the 4th time. It's the people who create the memorable moments, the fist pumping excitement. If you cast them well, they won't ever need to be replaced by a new twist or an island monster. All in all, that is where I'm currently left standing at the end of these 3 months going into what looks to be a long summer. But first, and now last, I want to know what you all thought about Survivor 44. What was your experience watching this season? Was it at all similar to mine? What did you like or dislike about it, and where would you rank it? Who were your favorite players? As always, I am mostly a cup half full kind of guy, and I am hyped for Survivor 45 in the fall, but until then, we've got a long summer ahead of us. A huge thank you to my patrons on the screen for all your support over the season, and to all my viewers out there. I've been doing this for like almost 6 years now, which is just a lot of time to think about and a lot of videos to think about. I know some of you have been around since the beginning because I can literally see it when you leave a comment, but yeah, I just want to say thanks. It's been a great ride, and it's been a roller coaster of only covering from season 35 to here, and I don't know how long we're gonna be going for doing this, but I don't think a day has gone by since I started my channel where I have not been grateful for what I get to do. Thank y'all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget that time is still a flat circle on your way out, and I will see you in the next one once I write into Jeff Probst's podcast to tell him exactly why he sucks.
What are you asking for? A big